here we are at the pits here at Volusia Speedway Park with the opening night's winner for the All-Stars Sprint Speedweek 1998 version, Danny Lasowski. Dude, you pulled off another one. You've got a reign on this place over the years.
I tell you what, this place has been good to us. Back when it was Bird before, we won a couple, and then we got up here with Chris Black's new Eagle car, brought her out of the box. She was pretty good.
I'll tell you, I know you got an outlaw deal waiting for you, but boy, getting the road with Chris and win some All-Star shows sure got to help the pocket a little bit.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Chris does a good job. You know, he runs us out of his pocket, doesn't have a sponsor, and he does a great job. He's got a good car every time I get to run for him.
So here's Danny going to be going to California now to start his ride out there, and going to have at least one win under your belt already, a little bit of confidence going in there.
Well, I sure like to think so. You know, that outlaw deal is awful tough, and we'd like to have some momentum going into the first race.
I'll tell you though, but over the years, I think last night made 6 for you here at Volusia. I'll tell you, that sure is a heck of a record to come down here every year.
I had no idea. We went to the pay window last night, and Gene Lynch told me that. I really didn't pay attention to how much we won here before.
I'll tell you, can you remember the other cars you were driving when you won here?
Yeah, well, I drove my father's car the first one I won here, and I think that when they counted the one I won with Gil Sonner, and then that's what.
I'll tell you.
Well, Guy Forbrooks too, matter of fact.
And one with Guy too. I'll tell you, you won a lot of races, some quality cars, Danny, but it sure looks like a good start to your season for you.
We sure hope so. We'll just do the best we can.
Okay, fans, and that's Danny the Dude Lasowski, last night's winner here at Volusia Speedway Park.
Second time around, a great second lap time of 14.423. That's a fast time so far for Frankie Kerr. On the Speedway, out of Mifflintown, Pennsylvania, Keith Kaufman and the Warren Johnson. Sprinter number U2. Here's Kaufman. Lap time of 14.797. Kaufman's not lifting. Look at here. Does not come off the throttle. Comes around in turn number 4. For second lap time of 14.770. This guy raced in the modified division last night, and I don't know for sure if he's going to race in the modified tonight. He is. He's going to do double duty tonight. Here he is from Troy, Ohio. Everybody's favorite veteran, Jack Hewitt in the 63. Indiana. Mel chassis, Hogue engine. 15.512 is the first lap time of 15.512 for Jeremy. A little bit better the second time around. He gets a 15.483 for Brian Carlson. Carlson in the 18. Out of Lincoln, Indiana. First lap time of 16.068. Sounds like the sprint car engine might be breaking up just a little bit on Brian. Much better the second time around at 15.638. First lap time of 14.824, 14.824 for Todd Schaefer. Second lap time just a tiny bit better, 14.785. First lap time of 14.435. Kenny Jacobs in the 94. Second lap time, go ahead. 14.363. Second lap time for Jacobs, and that will be the quick time so far. 14.363, just a little bit better than Frankie Kerr's time. His time of 14.423. Kenny Jacobs, and he's in the line entry at 14.365 for Jacobs in the 94. On the Speedway, Fred Kramer in the sprinter number 77 out of Salfordville, Pennsylvania. Al Hamilton, the owner of the race car, the famous 77 Mannheim Auto Auction. 14.842, first lap time for Freddie Raymond. Second lap time about 2/10 better, so 14.642. On the Speedway sprint car number 92, that's Dean Jacobs. Dean Jacobs in the 92 sprint car. He's out of Wooster, Ohio. Dean Jacobs in the 92. 14.699 first lap time for Dean Jacobs in the 92. Tiny bit off the pace the second time around, so Dean will take his first lap time of 14.699. Hawks in the 2S on the Speedway. .138 the first lap time for the Jacksonville, Illinois driver, Bobby Hawks in the 2S. Much better the second time around. He really got a good hold on the racetrack. 15.8 on the Speedway. In the sprinter number 17 out of Brownsburg, Indiana is Joey Saldana. Stealth chassis, a Birdie engine. Saldana. .693, very good lap for Saldana. He's got a pretty good second lap going here. Let's watch him as he comes to the checkered flag. Very good to the second lap, 14.4.96. That moves him into about third position in the qualifying agenda tonight. He had a good race car yesterday evening. On the Speedway, the 11, that's Glenn Passmore. 15.670 for Glenn Passmore in the 11A. Passmore out of Pryor, Oklahoma. 15.457. From Mount Alto, Pennsylvania, is Lance Deweese in the 461. Qualified well last night, led the feature for a while, finished second. 14.810, the first lap time for Lance Deweese. Got a pretty good second lap going. Here he comes. 14.649. Speedway, the 38 Hal Wilson. First lap time at 18.098 for Wilson. And the 38 car a little off the pace. Second lap time a little better, 17.776. Scott Jones on the Speedway in the sprint car number 13. Jones. Out of Volusia, Pennsylvania, in the Jones Auto Parts Center. 15.648, the first lap time for Scott Jones in the sprinter number 13. Here he comes for the checkered flag. Good second lap time of 15.231. On the Speedway, the sprint car number 87, Brad Ellenberger out of Garden City, Pennsylvania. In his spare time, he's a pilot for US Air. First lap time for Ellenberger at 16.545, 16.545, the time for Ellenberger in the 87. Much better the second time around at 15. On the Speedway out of Fremont, Ohio, in the TBM Auto Body entry, it's Brian Smith. Brian Smith in the 2 Plus sprint car. Here he comes to the white flag. 15.926, the first lap time for Smith in the 2 Plus sprint car. Speedway sprint car number 9, Gary Wright, out of Hooker, Texas. 15.173, first lap time. 15.173. Second time around for the Hooks, Texas entry, Gary Wright in the 9.
And Rogers in a 15. I'm sorry, Sam, what was the what again? 15.036, the second lap time.
On the Speedway, Brian Ellenberger in the 20. 15.456, the first lap time for Brian Ellenberger out of Buckle, Pennsylvania. Yes, he is Brad's brother. 15.141 on the Speedway, the sprinter number 41 is Mike Lauderborn in the 41 sprint car. First lap time of 15.915 for Lauderborn in the 41. Out of Rochester, New York. Pennsylvania, Smith in the 5. J&J chassis, a Smith engine. Here he comes. First lap time of 15.837. 15.837 first lap time. Speedway's David Chappell in sprint car number 50. First lap time of 16.271. 16.271 the first time around. Second lap time of 16. Number 4, Danny Smith. 15.488. The first lap time, 15.488 for Smith. Second lap time of 15.429. Attempt at qualifying his sprint car. Number 3 and around number 4, white flag waving. Oh, he's high on the racetrack. Yeah, there's his sprint car back up. 15.784, a respectable first lap time. Got a pretty good thing going right here. He's going to try and hold it a little lower coming through 4 this time. Well, not quite so low. 15.494 from Upper Cove, Maryland, in the Double L Racing entry, Jeff Shepard. Shepard, driving for York Excavating Company. 14.427, that's a good time. Just kind of making third, got a good second lap going right here. 14.345, the second lap time, and that's good enough to best the time set by Kenny Jacobs. And that will move him into the lead in the qualifier. On the Speedway. Tommy Estes in the 1A car, running at a time of 14.912 first time around. Second lap time of 14.683. On the Speedway in the 7S out of Fridley, Minnesota, the Whitney Racing entry, Travis Whitney, the driver. Amco Transmissions and Pack Autobody sponsor the sprint car. 15.357 first lap time. 15.357 time for Travis Whitney. On a Speedway out of Spring City, Pennsylvania, and the Jack's Auto Service entry is Judy Bates. racer we have in the All-Star Circuit of Champions race over this year. First lap time for Judy Bates of 15.337. Bates on the racetrack out of Spring City, Pennsylvania. Here she comes. A little bit better the second time around, a 15.273. On the Speedway, Johnny Lasowski. Lasowski was really hot last night. It was cold for the rest of us, but Lasowski was hot. 14.284, 14.284, and that's quick so far. Here he comes, second lap for Lasowski. 14.244, you heard the time, 14.244 for Danny Lasowski, who won it all last night at Higginsville, Missouri. Steve Blackley, one of the car, Massey Incorporated, the sponsor for Danny Lasowski. He got quick time last night. Let's see if this time holds up. A 14.244. 14.244. Speedway in the sprinter number 72 out of Bloomfield, Indiana is Johnny Johnson, the competition welding car, at 18.259 the first lap time. Completely off the racetrack over at turn number 3, so they allow one more lap for the sprint car up to qualify. Johnny Bankston on the racetrack in the sprinter number 8. Bankston out of Beaumont, Texas. First lap time, a respectable time of 15.308. The time for Johnny Bankston, the Bankston Construction, sprinter number 8. Couple of number 8 cars, and I'm sorry I called that wrong. That's Bobby Clark from Fremont, Ohio, in the Ace Engines entry. The official time would be a 15.238 for Clark. On the Speedway, the 7. I think this is Kevin Huntley. Kevin Huntley in the 7. Kevin Huntley in the 7, first lap time of 15.237, second lap time of 15.233. Now it's Johnny Bankston. Bankston on the racetrack in the sprinter number 8. Kevin Huntley, of course, out of Bloomington, Indiana, driving the Peterbilt in Northwest Ohio. Rick Gower there for the sprinter on the Speedway. This is Bankston in the 8. First lap time for Bankston at 15.295. This is the black Roman numeral, white Roman numeral 8, Johnny Bankston. Got it below 15 at 14.999. On the Speedway, the sprinter number 33, sprint car 33, Dan Bretnocker. 15.418, the official time, or the first lap time for Dan Bretnocker in the Bretnocker Farms entry out of Brookston, Indiana. 15.216. On the Speedway out of Grove City, Pennsylvania is Bill Bailey in sprint car number 28. Bailey in the 28 racing machine. First time around for Bailey. Here he comes to the white flag. first lap time of 15.037 for the Zebco headers entry out of Frenchtown, New Jersey. Second lap time for Billy Pouch of 14.984. Joe Houck on a racetrack gets one lap in the 34. And the time is 16.092. A beautiful pace truck is brought to you by General Motors Performance Parts, and General Motors Powertrain Group. Our beautiful one-ton Chevrolet Pace vehicle will pace the sprint cars for the entire week. Now we are set to go racing. On the pole position, the beautiful car number 7, Kevin Huntley, Bloomington, Indiana, leads the field around. This will be an 8-lap race. The top 4 will head to the A main. The remainder will run the B main. And we'll settle up with the top 4 for that.
They can get into the main tonight. We're doing top 5. We'll start top 5 out of the E event tonight.
An 8-lap race. Top 5 will advance to the A main. Here they come through turn number 3. Round the horn. Turn number 4. Here's Kevin Huntley with a hammer down to the green flag. Huntley gets the advantage from the inside pole position as they head down the back straightaway. It's Kevin Huntley in the 7th. Huntley with the advantage. Billy Pouch in the 1Z in the 2nd position. Pouch in the 1Z. Dean Jacobs up to 3rd in the car number 92. That's Jacobs and Joy Saldana in the 4th position as they make their way around the racetrack. It's Huntley hanging on to that lead. Here comes Billy Pouch in the 1. Makes an inside pass as they go into turn number 1. Now Huntley on the outside as they head down the back straightaway. It's Pouch by a car length as they go into turn number 3. Billy Pouch the leader in the 1 car. Slower car in front pulls into the infield. That's Davies in the 44. Billy Pouch in the 1. The 1Z down the back straightaway. Billy Pouch. Now it's Kevin Huntley in the 7. About 10 car lengths behind. On the move at the halfway point. Dean Jacobs in the 92. Joy Saldana in the 17, and Danny Lasowski in the 5th position in the car number 1. Down the back chute, it's Pouch. We're past the halfway point. This is lap number 5, going into the record book right here. Pouch with a big lead now, almost a full straightaway as he heads down the back straightaway, but a caution comes out. Caution on the Speedway. Caution out on the Speedway. The Speedway, the car bringing out the caution looks like it's Brian Ellenberger out of Butler, Pennsylvania, in the Hunter's Truck Series. It's Ricky Stott over there at the top of the racetrack. They'll fire up when they get to the cone right there about midway down the back straightaway. Billy Pouch puts a hammer down. Look at here. Here comes Jacobs charging around the outside and trying to pick over second. A good start from Lasowski, and he jumps into the 4th position. Now he's challenging Huntley as they head down the back straightaway. Kevin Huntley's going to drop back to 4th as Danny Lasowski becomes 3rd. Billy Pouch the leader. Billy Pouch out of Frenchtown, New Jersey, up front in the sprinter number 1. And it's Dean Jacobs challenging in the 92. Here he comes on turn 4. White flag, flying one more time around the racetrack. Speaking of runs, there's Danny Lasowski in the 3rd position in sprint car number 1. Down the back straightaway. Through turn number 3, Billy Pouch off turn number 4. The checkered flag flies. Pouch wins it. Lasowski for 2nd, can't do it. No, 2nd position will go to 92. Billy Pouch out of Frenchtown, New Jersey gets the win in sprint car heat number 1 tonight. The top 5 advancing. Dean Jacobs with a good run with a 92. Also Lasowski with the car number 1. You saw Joy Saldana in the car number 17 and Kevin Huntley in the 7. The winner Billy Pouch. Then comes the 11A. The 11A sprint cars Glenn Passmore in the 11A, all the way from Pryor, Oklahoma. Passmore starts inside row number 4. Outside the 4th row in the 8th starting position is sprint car number 29. The 29 is Terry Clutch out of Frankfurt, Indiana, with a commercial building entry. The 2S starts in the trailing row inside the 2S car. Bobby Hawks out of Jacksonville, Illinois. Starting next to him is the 50 David Chappell, and we're ready to go racing. Here they go. Green flag is off. We are off and running. Bankston jumps into the second slot as we head down the back straightaway. It's the 8 up front. Bobby Clark is the 8 car up front. It's Bankston in 8 with the black, the red 8 with the black wing on it. That's John Bankston. Caution is out on the racetrack. 1 lap completed, I believe. I think we have a count for 1 lap. Charge at the end by Freddie Raymer to try and be second. Raymer in the 77 is up third behind John Bankston in sprinter number 8 with the black wing. And the sprinter number 8X with the white wing gets the win. Bobby Clark in sprint car number 8X out of Fremont, Ohio. The Ace Engines entry, and that completes heat number 2. And we're ready to go racing with heat number 3. Rick Bristol will point to the front-running cars and indicate a one-lap signal. Well, they'll get the green when they come off at turn number 4. They fire up when they cross that little chalk line down there across the 4th turn. Judy Bates on the pole position in the 121. Hometown is Spring City, Pennsylvania, driving the Jackson Auto Service sprint car. She knows how to handle this race car. Here they go down the back straightaway, slowly through turn number 3. Judy will set the pace and pick it up a little bit as they come around to the white stripe. Rick Bristol looks them over, and there's a green flag off the road. Bates to the low side, Bailey to the top side. Bates with the advantage down to the low side. Judy Bates leads this race, first lap. Let's see if we can get them all around. And we will. like Kaufman, Bates, and Jacobs, followed by Bailey, or Feltley and Bailey, and Lance DeWeese in this one. And a good run by Judy Bates, who manages to hold on for a good second position of the 121. Keith Kaufman with the win in the U2. Please bring your cars to the staging area now. United, Midwest Promoters, UMP, modified cars. Bring them on if you would, gentlemen. Our beautiful Chevrolet Pace Truck, sponsored by GM Performance Group, leads the sprint cars around. On the pole position in the beautiful 7S is Travis Whitney. Whitney takes the field around. Slowly down the back chute as the pace truck retires. We're ready to go racing. Sitting in the third row, the quicker cars, Frankie Kerr, qualified fourth. He's sitting there at sixth. Here we go. Around at turn four, a great line. Jones makes a challenge with the 13, can't make a stick down the back chute. It's Whitney in the 1S as they work their way around, trying to get one complete lap in. Frankie Kerr taking the high line. Ellenberger in the 88, challenging for the lead as they head down the back straightaway there, bumper to bumper. Coming around the outside, Ellenberger with a nice move, very wide in turn four. Whitney. Schaefer, rather, in the 88 out of Millerstown, Pennsylvania, challenging that Schaefer in the 88. Here he comes. Looking to the outside as he goes into turn number one. Around the outside, it's Schaefer. Todd Schaefer takes over the lead. Down the back chute, Schaefer in the 88 with the advantage. Whitney drops back to second and third. It's Frankie Kerr in the 23S. Estes in the 1A. Position. Todd Schaefer in the 88 lead. Down the back chute, Schaefer in the 88 car. As Wendy drops back, Schaefer jumps out to about a half a straightaway lead. Lap and a half to go for Todd Schaefer. Second, nobody challenging him. Here comes Schaefer looking very fast through traffic around the horn. Checkered flag out, Schaefer easily. Todd Schaefer with an excellent run. Really showing some speed, especially after he got hooked up about halfway through heat race number 4 out of Millerstown, Pennsylvania. The turn ball service entry, Todd Schaefer in the 88 grabs the win. We're set to go racing. Here's the way we've got them lined up for this big race. This is a 10-lap event. On the pole position of 4J is Jeff Shepard out of Upper Cove, Maryland. Starting second, Lance DeWeese in the 461 from Mont Alto, Pennsylvania. In the third starting position, the 9W, Gary Wright from Hooks, Texas. Then comes a 20, Brian Ellenberger out of Butler, Pennsylvania in the second row. Third row inside, 13J Scott Jones out of Ramona, Pennsylvania. And it's Danny Smith out of Danville, Indiana. Glenn Passmore in Pryor, Oklahoma in the 11A. The 13M, Jeremy Minton from Brownsburg, Indiana. Followed by 29, Terry Flood from Frankfort, Indiana. In the 10th starting position outside the 5th row, the number 18, Brian Carlson from Linden, Indiana. 6th row will be the 87, Brian Ellenberg from Carson City, Pennsylvania. Jack Hewitt driving the 63 out of Troy, Ohio. And in the 13th position, the 2S, Bobby Hawks from Jacksonville, Illinois. Starting 14th, outside the 7th row, number 41, Mike Waterborn from Rochester, New York. Then comes Brian Smith from Fremont, Ohio in the 15th spot, followed by Joe Houghton in the 16th position from Rolla, Missouri. 9th row inside, David Chappell, Tallulah, Oklahoma in the 50 sprint car. In the 18th position outside the 9th Jeremy 8, Hal Wilson from nearby Barberville, Florida. Then in the trailing row, Johnny Johnston from Bluefield, Indiana, the 72J. And the 44's Tom Davies from Elkhart, Indiana. J.B. Smithy makes it from Wickley, Pennsylvania, in his car number 5. That completes the field. Jeff Shepard on the pole position out of Upper Co, Maryland. In the 4J, we're set to go racing. Our beautiful Chevrolet Pace truck, sponsored by General Motors Performance Group, takes the field around. Lance DeWeese would love to get out front quick. He wants to be in the race. He had a great race last night. Could pick up a good time and get a good start in the A-main. Here they come on turn number 4. Green flag flies off the road. Jeff Shepard in the 4J with the advantage off the pole position. Shoots down the back straightaway behind him. The 461. Lance DeWeese in the second position. Then it's Jones in the 13. We're trying to get one complete lap of the record. Everyone got underneath the flag stand. A couple of sprint cars did not make it through turn number 4. And both of them are going the wrong way on the racetrack over between turns 3 and 4. That moves Glenn Passmore, I believe, in the 11A. Passmore out of Pryor, Oklahoma, sitting in the 3rd position. Next to Danny Smith in the 4. Scott Jones is gone. We're ready to go. Here they come. Around at turn number 4 and a green flag in the wrong way. Lance DeWeese with a better shot that time, but out front is still the 4J, Jeff Shepard. DeWeese working the top side as they come around turn number 4, takes over the lead. Down the back straightaway, Lance DeWeese in the 461, and it's Jeff Shepard in the 4. Here they come to the front chip. Is a leader in the 461. Then Jeff Shepard in the 4, and that's Danny Smith in the other 4 car. In the 4th position of 13 is Jeremy Benton out of Brownsburg, Indiana, settles into the 4th position. That's Jack Hewitt in the 5th slot in the car number 63. Benton on the tunnel now. Hewitt in the 63's got to get around Benton to get into the A-main. Jack Hewitt trying to close the gap on Benton. Jeremy Benton and Jack Hewitt, the race for the bubble. The leader is Lance DeWeese in the 461. Behind DeWeese, Shepard in the 4J. Shepard closes the gap a little bit as they head into turn number 3. Here come the leaders around the outside. Taking to the inside as they come to the front. Shoot a nice move on Lance DeWeese. Jeff Shepard following him through there. Jack Hewitt trying to get up to the tail of the 13M. Jeremy Benton. Benton on the bubble of the 13M car, and then it's Jack Hewitt in the 63. Veteran sprint car driver Hewitt trying to close the gap. Benton able to stay in front by about 2 or 3 car lengths. Halfway point right here. 5 laps down and 5 to go. Here comes the leader. Lance DeWeese in the 461 for turn number 2 and down the back straightaway. He's opened up a gap before we get to the second position car, Jeff Shepard in the 4J. Hewitt making a dash around the outside, tries to do it right here. Will he get the job done? Racing around the outside, he's side by side there, wheel to wheel as they go into turn number 1, but the caution, the check at the checkered, I don't know if he did it. We'll see. Ladies and gentlemen, here's Lance DeWeese. Give him a nice round of applause, everybody. There's no doubt in my mind that we'll have several more. I'm not going to venture how many more, but several more for sure that will be here for in the next 3 or 4 nights. And the field's going to grow, especially by the time we get to the weekend, Friday, Saturday. Bobby Clark in the 8X. Clark makes his home in Fremont, Ohio. Ken Clark, the owner of the car, is on a Gambler chassis, one of the few in the field. And then next to Clark, outside the 10th row, is Judy Bates in the 121. The 121, hometown Spring City, Pennsylvania. Judy Bates starts 20th. In the 21st starting position, the 7S is Travis Whitney out of Fridley, Minnesota, in the Whitney Racing entry. Outside the 11th row, Danny Smith. In the 4, Smith out of Danville, Indiana. And in the trailing row, it's the 13M, Jeremy Minton. Jeremy Minton in the 23. Hometown for Minton. Hometown for Jeremy Minton is Brownsburg, Indiana. Here they come, 4 by. Stand up, wave your hats, give them a send-off if you would. Here they go. Here are the All-Star Circuit of Champions. And the car in the trailing position, the final entry is the 3S, Tim Schaefer. Schaefer in the 3S. Before they get going. So the pace vehicle will take them around one more time. And this time, Rick Bristol on the flying stand gives them the 1 lap signal and we're ready to go. Freddie Raymer takes the field around in the beautiful Sprinter number 77. Joyce Aldana outside in the 17. Tough second row. Frankie Kerr in the 23S and Kenny Jenkins in the 94. This time, the official pace truck heads into the infield and now we're ready to go racing. Rick Bristol on the flying stand set to give it the green. Freddie Raymer takes it through turn number 3. Picks up the pace a little bit. Here they come. Saldana comes out on the hammer. Here they go. Into turn number 4. Off and running. Joey Saldana has the advantage from the outside pole position. Coming around the outside, Danny Lasowski. He's a madman on the run. Down the back straightaway, and he comes right in behind the 17 car to the outside in turn 4. And 1 lap to go from 6 to the lead. Danny Lasowski high on the racetrack in turn number 2. Down the back, Judy's got about a 10-car lead over Joey Saldana. Then it's Fred Raymer in the 3rd slot of the 77. Frankie Kerr in the 23S down on the low side. racetrack, and it is for Travis Whitney in the 7S out of Fridley, Minnesota. He's come to a stop here on the front straightaway. Kenny Jacobs had made the pass on Joey Saldana. We'll see if that pass will stick or not. Lasowski leads them through the first corner and around in turn number 2. They head down the back straightaway. They gain a little momentum. They pick up the pace. They sprint to turn number 3. Here we go racing. Off turn number 4, Lasowski. Down the back straightaway. They sort it out a little bit, and it's still Joey Saldana in the second position with 2 slower cars, or 2 lap cars in front before we get up to the leader, Danny Lasowski. Then it's Jacobs in the 94 third. Effort in the 4K is running in the 4th position. Followed by Frankie Kern in the 23, Keith Kaufman in the U2, and Freddie Raymer in the 77. Lasowski all alone, a clear racetrack in Boise. Ever all in the mail. Around turn number 3, high on the racetrack. Got a great run going. Absolutely fabulous, using every bit of the cushion. There's Danny Lasowski in the number 1. Lasowski coming in traffic as he comes off turn number 4. Down the front chip, Danny Lasowski in the 1, running away from Joey Saldana in the 17. Danny Lasowski in the 1. Into the pits, the 8, that's Clark, Bobby Clark in the turn number 8 into the pit area. Absolutely unbelievable. Lasowski into number 1. Racing off the turn 4. Here he goes. Here's the leader, Danny Lasowski. A little bit of traffic in front, but he has found a groove that he really likes. Hanging it all the way up on the cushion for turn 1. And in turn 3, he's got a good cushion as well. Lasowski in the 1. White flag waving, Lasowski, here he comes. The checkered flag coming, and there's the winner, Danny Lasowski, for 2 nights in a row. Joey Saldana will end up second. Then it's Shepard in the 4 and the 94 Jacobs. Absolutely incredible. We'll go down to the racetrack and meet with Danny Lasowski in just a moment and get his thoughts on what must have been an absolutely exciting run for him, because it was more like really sprint car racing of old, with the racetrack really widening out, a fantastic cushion up there, and Danny Lasowski using every bit of it. There he is. Ladies and gentlemen, nice round of applause for Danny Lasowski. Everybody, congratulations, Dan.
You bet. Let's take it right down a little bit. That's clear, so we don't have much feedback. But boy, this must have been perhaps a racetrack of old for you, because this racetrack really opened up tonight, and it looked like you were having a great time up there running real fast.
Well, this is my whole crew. We got a brand new Eagle chassis. This is the second night of our work. It's been, very rough to start partying on the door and making cars, and we got one of the first was Mr. Black over there.
Okay, sorry about all that feedback. Maybe they get it when we flesh it out. But absolutely fantastic run for you. This is the racetrack you love. You've got 2 quick times in a row and 2 wins. How do you think it's going to fare